Hello my dear students. We are back with the last session of the metals and non-metals. In the last few sessions we have studied about the physical and chemical properties of metals and non-metals. In this session we will learn about displacement reaction and how the metals and non-metals are useful to us. So to study the displacement reaction, we should know the reactivity series. So what is reactivity series? Reactivity series is the series of the metals based on their reactivity from highest to the lowest. Means the metals are arranged based on the reactivity. The metals which are highly reactive are placed at the top. As you go down, the reactivity decreases. The least reactive metal is placed at the bottom of the series. So potassium. So potassium is highly reactive metal. Next, sodium, calcium, magnesium, aluminium, carbon, zinc, iron, tin, lead, copper. Copper is very least reactive metal. Okay. As you go from top to down, the reactivity of the metals decreases. Okay. So you have to remember this series in this order only. Okay. So potassium is more reactive than sodium. Sodium is more reactive than calcium. Calcium is more reactive than magnesium. Magnesium is more reactive than aluminium. Okay, likewise it continues. So you have to remember in this order. We will study displacement reaction. So what is displacement reaction? So here the more reactive metal displaces less reactive metal, but less reactive metal cannot displace a more reactive metal. So we'll see a general equation. The salt of metal B plus metal A. When these two react, it gives salt of metal A plus metal B. So here A is more reactive than the B. Hence this reaction will take place. That means A displaces B from its salt solution. If A was less reactive than B, then this reaction would have not been possible. So here A is more reactive than B. Hence A displaces B from its salt solution and forms the salt of A plus metal B is removed out. Okay, so this is the general equation for the displacement reaction. We'll see an example. Here copper sulfate is taken plus zinc. So when you compare the copper and the zinc, which is more reactive here? Zinc is more reactive than the copper. So if you remember the reactivity series, you will understand zinc is more reactive than the copper. Hence, zinc displaces copper from its salt solution to form the zinc sulfate. Clear? Next, we have a activity, that is activity 4.8. Here what you have to do? You have to take 100 ml beakers. Totally 5 beakers you have to take, and you have to name them as A, B, C, D and E. Okay. And in each beaker you add 50 ml of water and you dissolve a spoonful of each substance as indicated in the figure. Keep the beakers undisturbed for some time and record your observations. So in the beaker A, you add copper sulfate. The blue color is the copper sulfate. Okay, plus you should add zinc granules in the beaker A. And in the beaker B, you take copper sulfate. And you place iron nail. Okay. And in the beaker C, you take zinc sulfate. Plus you add copper to it. And in the beaker D, you take iron sulfate. And you add copper to it. And in the last beaker E, you take zinc sulfate and add iron nail. You keep this setup for a day, and next you observe the change in the color. So what you observe? In the beaker A, you can observe, so the blue color of the copper sulfate, it will disappear. Here you can see the color has changed. So blue color will disappear and forms a red mass of copper is deposited at the bottom of the beaker. Okay. So the reaction will be copper sulfate plus you had taken zinc. So copper sulfate was blue in color. Okay. So after when the reaction has taken place, it forms, here zinc is more reactive than the copper. So zinc will displace copper. Hence it will form zinc sulfate. This zinc sulfate is colorless. Plus copper is displaced. Thus copper is red in color. Okay. So this is the reaction observed in the beaker A. And in the beaker B, you had taken copper sulfate plus iron nail. Copper sulfate plus iron nail was placed. Here iron is more reactive than the copper. Hence it will displace copper. Okay. So it forms FeSO4 plus Cu is displaced. Okay. And in the beaker C, what you had taken? You have taken zinc sulfate plus you had added copper to it. Here copper is less reactive than the zinc. So it cannot displace zinc from its salt solution. Okay. Hence there is no reaction in this case. Okay. Similarly, when you take beaker D, you had taken ferrous sulfate plus you had added copper. Here copper is less reactive than the iron. Hence copper cannot displace iron from its salt solution. Here also there is no change observed. And in the beaker E, you had taken zinc sulfate plus iron nail was added to it. Here iron is less reactive than the zinc, Hence, it cannot displace zinc from its salt solution. Okay, so we don't see any changes in this beaker. Okay, if you observe the color changed here, only in the A and B you have observed the changes in the color, but in C, D and E it is as it is. So this is the displacement reaction. Next we will study what are the uses of metals. Here iron is used in machinery, buildings, car, motorcycle, ships, etc. And copper is a metal which is used in electric wire and also to make the statues. Okay, and aluminium is a metal which is used in making kitchen utensils, aluminium foils and sheets. So this is the aluminium sheet, and this is the spoons made up of the aluminium. And gold and silver, they are used in making the ornaments. So these are the uses of metals. Next we will see what are the uses of non-metals. So can you name some of the non-metals? Carbon, oxygen, sulfur. So these are some of the non-metals. So the oxygen, it is used for breathing. Okay, this is a lifesaver. And non-metals, they are used in making the fertilizers. So why the fertilizers are used? To enhance the growth of the plants. And non-metal, it is used in water purification process. Here chlorine is used in the purification of the water. And non-metal, it is used in the purple colored solution which is used as the antiseptic. And also the non-metals are used in crackers. The red phosphorus is a non-metal. The phosphorus is used in making the crackers. So these are the uses of non-metals. Okay, so this is the end of the chapter. Thank you.